June 26, 2013, 9:30 a.m. The handcuffs clicked shut around Aaron Hernandez's wrists as cameras flashed outside his $1.3 million mansion in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. The 23-year-old New England Patriots tight end, who just 9 months earlier had signed a $40 million contract extension, stood expressionless as police led him away. Less than 2 miles from his home, the body of Odin Lloyd lay in an industrial park, riddled with bullets. The question on everyone's mind: how does a man with everything lose it all? If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this video and comment where you are watching from. The scene was surreal. News helicopters circled overhead as one of the NFL's brightest young stars was escorted from his home in a white t-shirt, his head down, his future crumbling. Inside the house, police had discovered a smashed cell phone and a smashed home security system, evidence of a man trying desperately to hide something. The weapon used to kill Odin Lloyd was never found, but the digital trail was damning. Text messages, surveillance footage, witnesses. The case against Aaron Hernandez was building by the hour. But who was this man? How did a kid who had once been compared to the greatest tight ends in football history end up charged with first-degree murder? To understand the fall, we must first understand the rise, and the darkness that lurked beneath the surface long before the world knew Aaron Hernandez's name. Aaron Joseph Hernandez was born on November 6, 1989, in Bristol, Connecticut, a small working-class city about 20 miles southwest of Hartford. His father, Dennis Hernandez, was a former high school football star who never made it to the professional level. Dennis was tough, demanding, even brutal in his expectations. He pushed his 2 sons, Dennis Jr. and Aaron, relentlessly on the football field, but his methods were controversial. Neighbors and family members would later describe Dennis Sr. as controlling and, at times, abusive. Aaron's mother, Terry Valentine Hernandez, worked as a secretary at the local school. She was softer, more nurturing, but often found herself caught between her husband's iron will and her son's need for emotional support. The Hernandez household was, by many accounts, a pressure cooker, a place where success was expected and failure was not tolerated. From an early age, Aaron showed exceptional athletic ability. He was fast, agile, and had hands that seemed to magnetize footballs. But there were signs, even then, that something wasn't right. Aaron struggled with anger. He got into fights at school. He had trouble controlling his emotions. Some would later speculate that the strict, sometimes violent upbringing contributed to Aaron's inability to regulate his impulses. One of the most closely guarded secrets of Aaron Hernandez's life was his sexuality. In the hypermasculine world of football, especially in the early 2000s, being gay or bisexual was taboo. Aaron, according to later reports and testimony from those close to him, struggled with his sexual identity from a young age. He reportedly had relationships with men during high school and college, but lived in constant fear of being discovered. This internal conflict would become a defining feature of Aaron's life. He wore a mask, the tough, aggressive football player, while hiding a part of himself he believed the world would reject. The psychological toll of this secret, combined with the pressure from his father and the culture of football, created a volatile mixture. At Bristol Central High School, Aaron Hernandez became a legend. Playing quarterback and tight end, he dominated the competition. By his senior year, he had caught 67 passes for 1,807 yards and 18 touchdowns. He was named Connecticut's Gatorade Football Player of the Year. Colleges across the country wanted him. But in 2006, during Aaron's junior year of high school, tragedy struck. Dennis Hernandez Sr. died unexpectedly during a routine hernia surgery. He was only 49 years old. The loss devastated Aaron. His father had been his harshest critic, but also his greatest motivator. Without that structure, without that fear of disappointing his father, Aaron began to spiral. He started hanging out with a rougher crowd. He began smoking marijuana regularly. His grades slipped. His behavior became more erratic. His mother, Terry, tried to hold things together, but Aaron was slipping through her fingers. The anger that had always simmered beneath the surface was now boiling over. Aaron Hernandez committed to the University of Florida, one of the premier football programs in the country. Under head coach Urban Meyer, the Gators were a powerhouse. Aaron arrived in Gainesville in 2007 as one of the most highly touted recruits in the nation. On the field, Aaron was spectacular. As a freshman, he caught 34 passes for 381 yards and 5 touchdowns, helping the Gators win the national championship. By his sophomore year, he was one of the best tight ends in college football, earning All-American honors. NFL scouts were already projecting him as a first-round draft pick. But off the field, Aaron's life was unraveling. He was involved in several violent incidents. In 2007, he was questioned in connection with a shooting at a Gainesville nightclub that left 2 people wounded. No charges were filed, but the incident raised red flags. In 2008, he was involved in a bar fight that left a man unconscious. Again, no charges. Aaron was also using drugs heavily: marijuana, cocaine, and reportedly PCP. His behavior became increasingly paranoid and aggressive. He started carrying a gun. He associated with known gang members and drug dealers. Friends from Bristol would visit, and Aaron would bring them into the world of college football, a world where his status as a star athlete gave him a sense of invincibility. Urban Meyer, aware of Aaron's issues, tried to intervene. He assigned a mentor to watch over him, but the problems persisted. Meyer would later say that he failed Aaron Hernandez, that he should have done more to address the red flags. But the truth was, Aaron was already too far gone. By the end of his junior year at Florida, Aaron Hernandez declared for the NFL draft. He was projected as a potential first-round pick, but whispers about his off-field behavior had spread throughout the league. Teams were nervous. Background checks revealed his connections to violent incidents, his drug use, and rumors about his sexuality. On draft day, Aaron watched as tight end after tight end was selected before him. He slipped to the 4th round, where the New England Patriots finally took a chance on him with the 113th overall pick. It was a massive fall for a player of his talent, a humiliation that Aaron internalized as yet another rejection. But the Patriots believed they could control him. Head coach Bill Belichick was known for his ability to manage difficult personalities. The team paired Aaron with veteran tight end Rob Gronkowski, forming one of the most dynamic duos in NFL history. For a while, it seemed like the gamble had paid off. When Aaron Hernandez stepped onto the field for the New England Patriots in 2010, he was determined to prove that every team that had passed on him in the draft had made a mistake, and prove it he did. From his very first game, it was clear that the Patriots had found something special. Aaron's combination of size, speed, and hands made him nearly impossible to cover. At 6 feet 1 inch and 245 pounds, he was too big for cornerbacks and too fast for linebackers. Defensive coordinators had no answer for him. He could line up as a traditional tight end, split out wide as a receiver, or even take handoffs in the backfield. His versatility was a nightmare for opposing defenses. In his rookie season, Aaron caught 45 passes for 563 yards and 6 touchdowns. But the statistics only told part of the story. What made Aaron special was his football intelligence. He studied film obsessively, understood defensive coverages, and had an uncanny ability to find soft spots in zone defenses. Tom Brady, the Patriots' legendary quarterback, quickly developed a rapport with the young tight end, but it was Aaron's partnership with fellow tight end Rob Gronkowski that truly revolutionized the Patriots' offense. Together, they formed the most dominant 2 tight end combination the NFL had ever seen. Gronkowski was the bruising, physical presence. A 6 feet 6 inches, 265-pound monster who could block like an offensive lineman and catch like a receiver. Aaron was the finesse player, quicker, more agile, with softer hands and better route-running ability. Defensive coordinators were forced to choose their poison. Double cover Gronkowski and leave Hernandez one-on-one, or focus on Hernandez and let Gronk dominate. Either way, Brady was throwing touchdowns. The Patriots' offense became unstoppable, and Aaron Hernandez was a major reason why. The Patriots made the playoffs that year, and though they fell short of the Super Bowl, Aaron had announced his arrival. He wasn't just a good player, he was a future star. NFL analysts began comparing him to some of the greatest tight ends in history. At just 21 years old, his ceiling seemed limitless. If Aaron's rookie year was impressive, his second season was spectacular. In 2011, he exploded onto the national stage as one of the most dangerous offensive weapons in football. He caught 79 passes for 910 yards and 7 touchdowns, earning praise from coaches, teammates, and opponents alike. The chemistry between Brady, Gronkowski, and Hernandez was electric. In many games, defenses simply had no answer. The Patriots would line up with both tight ends on the field, and Brady would pick apart defenses with surgical precision. Aaron's ability to create separation and make acrobatic catches in traffic made him a favorite target in critical situations. One game that season epitomized Aaron's talent: a Monday Night Football matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs in November. Aaron caught 8 passes for 96 yards and a touchdown, consistently beating double teams and making defenders miss in the open field. After the game, Chiefs head coach Todd Haley said, "That kid is special. You can't defend him with just one guy." The Patriots steamrolled through the regular season with a 13-3 record, then marched through the playoffs to reach Super Bowl 46 against the New York Giants. It was the biggest stage in sports, and Aaron Hernandez was about to play in it at just 22 years old. The dream was real. Though the Patriots lost the Super Bowl 21-17 in a heartbreaking finish, Aaron's performance throughout the season had established him as one of the league's elite players. He had proven he could perform under pressure in big games on the biggest stages. The future was blindingly bright. After the Super Bowl loss, the Patriots front office made Aaron Hernandez a priority. In August 2012, they offered him a 5-year, $40 million contract extension with $16 million guaranteed. It was the most lucrative contract ever given to an NFL tight end at the time, a testament to how valuable the organization believed he was. For a kid from Bristol, Connecticut, who had grown up in a modest household, the money was life-changing. Aaron bought a $1.3 million mansion in North Attleboro, Massachusetts, complete with a home theater, a pool, and a basketball court. He purchased luxury cars, Range Rovers, BMWs, Escalades. He showered his family and friends with gifts. He was living the American dream. On the field, Aaron continued to dominate. In the 2012 season, he caught 51 passes for 483 yards and 5 touchdowns in just 10 games before an ankle injury sidelined him late in the year. Even injured, he was one of the Patriots' most important players. Coach Bill Belichick praised his work ethic and football IQ. Teammates called him a leader. Fans adored him. Aaron's jersey was one of the best sellers in the NFL. Kids wanted to be like him. Fantasy football owners drafted him in the early rounds. Endorsement deals were starting to come in. He was featured in magazines and television interviews. At 23 years old, Aaron Hernandez had everything a person could want: fame, fortune, respect, and a future that seemed destined for greatness. But there was another side to Aaron Hernandez, a side the public didn't see. While Aaron Hernandez was catching touchdowns on Sundays, he was living a double life that few could have imagined. He had reconnected with friends from Bristol, many of whom had criminal records. He was frequenting nightclubs, getting into altercations, and allegedly involved in drug dealing. He was also reportedly continuing to have relationships with men, all while maintaining a public relationship with his longtime girlfriend, Shayana Jenkins, with whom he had a daughter in 2012. The pressure of hiding his sexuality, combined with his drug use and paranoia, made Aaron increasingly volatile. He began carrying guns regularly. He surrounded himself with an entourage that included alleged gang members, and he was involved in violent incidents that, at the time, were kept quiet. In February 2013, Aaron Hernandez was in Florida when he got into an argument with Alexander Bradley, a man he considered a friend. According to Bradley, Aaron shot him in the face, leaving him partially blind. Bradley survived but initially refused to cooperate with police, fearing retaliation. The incident was kept under wraps, but it would later become a key piece of evidence in understanding Aaron's capacity for violence. Even more chilling, prosecutors would later allege that Aaron Hernandez was involved in a double homicide in Boston in July 2012, nearly a year before Odin Lloyd's murder. According to the prosecution, Aaron got into an altercation at a nightclub with 2 men, Daniel de Abreu and Safiro Furtado. Later that night, Aaron allegedly pulled up alongside their car at a stoplight and opened fire, killing both men. The case was built on circumstantial evidence, and Aaron was not initially charged. But it painted a picture of a man who was not just troubled, but dangerous. A man capable of cold-blooded murder. Odin Lloyd was a 27-year-old semi-professional football player who played for the Boston Bandits. He was dating Shania Jenkins, the sister of Aaron's girlfriend, Shayana. Through this connection, Odin and Aaron became acquaintances. They weren't close friends, but they ran in the same social circles. In June 2013, Odin Lloyd made a fatal mistake. He saw something he shouldn't have. The exact motive for Odin Lloyd's murder remains somewhat unclear, but prosecutors believe it was related to Aaron's paranoia. Lloyd had been at a nightclub with Aaron and may have witnessed something that made Aaron believe Lloyd was a liability, possibly related to Aaron's involvement in the Boston double homicide or his hidden personal life. On the night of June 17, 2013, Aaron Hernandez picked up two friends from Bristol, Carlos Ortiz and Ernest Wallace. Together, they drove to Boston to pick up Odin Lloyd. Surveillance footage captured the group leaving in Aaron's silver Nissan Altima rental car around 2:30 a.m. They drove to an industrial park in North Attleboro, less than a mile from Aaron's home. At approximately 3:23 a.m., workers at a nearby industrial park heard gunshots. Odin Lloyd was shot 6 times with a .45 caliber handgun. He was left to die in the dirt. Aaron Hernandez returned home, where surveillance footage showed him holding what appeared to be a gun. He was seen on his home security system pacing back and forth, clearly agitated. Over the next several hours, he destroyed his cell phone and attempted to erase evidence. Odin Lloyd's body was discovered the next day by a jogger. Police quickly identified him and began tracing his last movements. The investigation led them to Aaron Hernandez. Surveillance footage from Aaron's home, the rental car, and nearby businesses painted a damning picture. Text messages between Aaron and Odin revealed that Aaron had arranged to pick up Odin the night he was killed. Witnesses placed Aaron at the scene. Shell casings found at the murder scene matched ammunition found in Aaron's home. The case was circumstantial but overwhelming. On June 26, 2013, 9 days after Odin Lloyd's murder, Aaron Hernandez was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Within hours of Aaron's arrest, the New England Patriots released him from the team. The franchise that had invested $40 million in him wanted nothing to do with the scandal. Aaron's jerseys were pulled from stores. His name was erased from the Patriots' record books. He went from NFL star to pariah overnight. Aaron Hernandez's trial began in January 2015 in Fall River, Massachusetts. The prosecution presented a mountain of circumstantial evidence: surveillance footage, text messages, witness testimony, and forensic evidence. They argued that Aaron had orchestrated Odin Lloyd's murder and pulled the trigger. The defense, led by attorney James Sultan, argued that the prosecution's case was built on speculation. They pointed out that the murder weapon was never found. They suggested that Carlos Ortiz or Ernest Wallace could have been the shooter. They portrayed Aaron as a young man who had been in the wrong place at the wrong time. But the jury wasn't buying it. The courtroom was packed on April 15, 2015. Aaron Hernandez sat at the defense table in a gray suit, his hands folded, his face betraying nothing. His fiancée, Shayana Jenkins, sat in the gallery with his mother and brother, their eyes red from sleepless nights and endless tears. After 7 weeks of testimony and 36 grueling hours of deliberation, the jury was finally ready. The foreperson stood. The clerk asked the question that would seal Aaron's fate. In the matter of Commonwealth versus Aaron Hernandez, on the charge of murder in the first degree, how do you find? Guilty. The word hung in the air like a death sentence because that's exactly what it was. The courtroom erupted. Shayana gasped and broke down in tears. Aaron's mother buried her face in her hands. Aaron himself remained stoic, barely flinching, though those close enough could see his jaw tighten and his eyes glisten. The jury also found him guilty of unlawful possession of a firearm and unlawful possession of ammunition. On each count, the evidence had been overwhelming. The surveillance footage, the text messages, the testimony, it all pointed to one inescapable conclusion. Aaron Hernandez had murdered Odin Lloyd in cold blood. Judge Susan Garsh wasted no time. Massachusetts law is clear. First-degree murder carries a mandatory sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. There would be no chance for redemption, no opportunity for a second chance. Aaron Hernandez, who had once signed a $40 million contract and seemed destined for the Hall of Fame, would spend the rest of his life behind bars. As the judge read the sentence, Aaron stood motionless. The dream was over. The mansion, the cars, the fame, the future, all of it was gone. He was 25 years old, the same age many NFL players are just entering their prime. Instead, Aaron would grow old in a prison cell, surrounded by concrete and razor wire, his talent wasted, his potential destroyed. After the verdict, Aaron was led away in handcuffs to begin his life sentence at the Sousa Baranowski Correctional Center, a maximum security prison in Lancaster, Massachusetts. The facility was a far cry from the luxury he had known. His cell was a 7 by 10-foot concrete box with a metal bed, a toilet, and a small sink. No more private chefs, no more personal trainers, no more adoring fans. Just endless days of monotony, violence, and isolation. For Aaron, the weight of what he had done and what he had lost was crushing. He had destroyed not just Odin Lloyd's life, but his own. His daughter would grow up without a father. His family would forever carry the shame of his crimes. His name, once synonymous with athletic excellence, would now be forever linked to murder. The NFL, which had once celebrated him, erased him from memory. His statistics remained in the record books, but his legacy was tainted beyond repair. Young players who had idolized him now saw him as a cautionary tale. Teammates who had celebrated with him in the end zone now refused to speak his name. Aaron Hernandez, once one of the brightest stars in the NFL, would spend the rest of his life behind bars. He was 25 years old, and his life, for all intents and purposes, was over. Aaron Hernandez's conviction sent shockwaves through the sports world. How could someone with so much talent, so much money, so much to lose, throw it all away? The story became a cautionary tale about the dangers of fame, the consequences of unchecked violence, and the tragedy of a young man who never dealt with his inner demons. In 2017, Aaron was acquitted of the Boston double homicide in a separate trial, but it no longer mattered. He was already serving a life sentence. 5 days after his acquittal, on April 19, 2017, Aaron Hernandez was found dead in his prison cell. He had hanged himself with a bedsheet. He was 27 years old. His death raised more questions than it answered. Why did he take his own life? Was it guilt, despair, or something else? Some speculated that the recent acquittal had given him hope, only for reality to set in. Others believed he was haunted by the life he had destroyed. Later, it was revealed that Aaron had been suffering from severe chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, a degenerative brain disease caused by repeated head trauma. His brain showed damage typically seen in players decades older. Some wondered if the CTE had contributed to his violent behavior, his impulsivity, and ultimately his death. The story of Aaron Hernandez is one of the most tragic in sports history. He had everything: talent, wealth, fame, and he destroyed it all. But beyond the headlines and the sensationalism, Aaron's story is a reminder of the complexity of human behavior. He was a victim of his upbringing, his secrets, his mental health, and the violent culture that surrounded him. He was also a perpetrator of terrible violence, responsible for ending Odin Lloyd's life and devastating countless others. In the end, Aaron Hernandez's legacy is not the touchdowns he scored or the records he might have set. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when talent is not enough, when the weight of secrets becomes unbearable, and when violence becomes the only language a troubled soul knows how to speak. From the moment those handcuffs clicked shut on that June morning in 2013, Aaron Hernandez's fate was sealed. The fall from grace was complete, and the world was left to wonder, what if?